He had to be gay. A straight guy could not talk about the colors and spell tire with a Y. And
that's right.
And it was just like, oh, and the bird's eye maple with the magnolia and the biscuit piping. My God.
Oh, I don't have my checkbook, but I'll definitely come back tomorrow and do it. And Jeff looks at him, and this is a pretty wealthy guy. Jeff looks at him and says, "Isn't that a Hublot watch?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just got it. It's a $50,000 watch." And Jeff says to him, looks him dead in the eye and says, "That'll do for the down." And literally slid it off his wrist. So I hit that thing, it's in reverse. It flies backwards.
And he got this car going so sideways for so long. And this, a mid-engine V8, 2,300 pound. And he gets this car sideways, and we go all the way up the lawn sideways.
In Japan, they have a wonderful name for Lexus. It's called Toyota. I hope Mike Tyson never sees this. Big picture of the Phantom and an all smashed up front of the car. He didn't have it a week. There's not a lot of people who know the story.
Created then a company which became Orange and which we took public on the London stock market. Then I pursued mobile opportunities in Asia because this was interesting. And logically, if you look at a country like Indonesia, if you are paid in Miami, whatever it is, $10 or $15 per hour, and this is triple of what you make in Cuba, the people in Miami are happy, the people in Cuba of your family whom you can send some of the money are happy, and it works and it boosts Cuba and it boosts Miami.
Your partner in your mobile phone company in Germany ended up with T-Mobile. When at 15, he bought his first collector's vehicle, a 68 Fiat 124 Coupe, and his second was a 66 330 GT 2+2 purchased by stealing your college savings. So
I had a 912 in between. My first Daytona cost under $100,000. So
well-respected Concord judge.
I hit the wall really hard, and I bent this thing better than I ever bent a race car ever. What if you had a Concord for toy cars judged by Concord judges?
Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, Norman Vincent Peale, Apollo 15, 16, and 17 astronaut.
He had one book in his cell. And when I saw it on the top bunk, I said, "Charlie, it's an interesting reading selection." He knew what I was talking about. He said, "Yep, only book I own." It was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I couldn't have built the Manson family without it. The San Francisco Madam was a dear friend of mine. The United Nations was formed. Much of the work was formed in her parlor. Dr. Napoleon Hill, Og Mandino, who saved my life, by the way, literally. Zig Ziglar, the author, and his two partners sold one copy. I sold 10.5 million when we quit counting 25 years ago.
You can learn through someone else's mistakes or through your own mistakes. There's not a better condition to be in than in a state of gratitude and thankfulness. My passion in life is to open the blinded eyes and to inspire people.
I have 300 garages, a 1.6 mile performance track, an 80-acre off-road track, a 2-acre skid pad, and a 35,000 square foot corporate event space. I have a membership-based club, I got driving schools, I got corporate events, I have sponsorship, I have public events. We actually have a women's drivers club, wine tastings and dinners, and I take 20 couples to Europe every year to drive cars through Italy. We do charity events, and there's a social committee. Like, they plan their own events. Every month at M1, we'll do the same thing here. There's an Italian night, and there's a food truck rally, and there's a charity thing.
In Auburn, there were no less than a dozen automobile manufacturers. We have the earliest known Auburn in existence. The Model J wasn't built for the 1%. It was built for the 0.1%. So we can see that with the kings and queens and Maharaja and princes and princesses, government officials, obviously movie stars and Hollywood elite.
I think something that really makes us special and different is we offer new parts, new old stock parts, rebuilt parts. And the thing that I'm actually most excited about is we offer services right alongside the parts. Over in Europe, those folks, if you're a seller, getting into the U.S. market is a pain.
And did you sell cars there, or did you go straight into their marketing department?
That's actually a pretty funny story. So, there's a couple different types of personalities at a car dealership, and I was the marketing kid. The sales guys got one type of treatment, and the marketing people got a separate type of treatment because we're an expense. And the salespeople, they're a revenue driver. They're generating income for the dealerships. I used to kind of come into these meetings and talk about my expertise in marketing. I go into the sales meetings on Monday mornings, and a lot of the general managers who didn't like me, and there was a couple of them, I'm sure, they used to say, well, this kid's telling us how to sell cars. He's never sold cars. The reality is, I've sold my own cars, big deal. Everyone does that. I've also sold a couple Corvettes or helped to sell a couple Corvettes in my lifetime through my previous jobs I spoke about. My dealer principal said to me, Dan, if you want to talk to these guys about selling cars and act like you have expertise, you have to go and sell a car. So at the crack of dawn, 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, that's crack of dawn for us millennials, I put my boots on, strapped my boots on, and I went to our Subaru store and harangued customers in the parking lot until eventually one of them said, okay, fine, I will take a test drive with you. And he was a great guy, and it's actually really funny. We're going to come full circle already in this conversation. We bonded over our mutual desire to drive Trans Ams and live the free life. And he ended up buying a Subaru Forester from me, but he did like Trans Ams, or he at least humored me and pretended to like Trans Ams. But no, I am 1-in-1 when it comes to selling cars in a retail automotive environment. 1-in-1.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.